Hello, good morning, and welcome to this video called Fail Your Way to Success. So today I'm talking about perfectionism, procrastination, making mistakes, and how failure is the ultimate key to success. So if you are a perfectionist, if you are a procrastinator, stick around, make sure you watch the rest of this video, because I have some insights that could really shift your perspective, blow your mind, and help you break through to actually taking the action in your life that's going to lead to achieving your goals, living your dream, being the best version of yourself. So first of all, I want to explain that the reason why I'm talking about this today is because we are in the first quarter phase of the moon. The first quarter phase is all about taking action. It's about building momentum as the moon increases between the new moon and the full moon. So we're jumping on that bandwagon, riding those waves of momentum towards the growth of the moon. And so that's why I'm talking about this today. And I'm also talking about this because this is a subject that's really close to my heart. It's been a real problem for me for a really long time. And the breakthroughs I've had over the last year have been just so phenomenal. So I just wanted to share that with you because it's been so profound for me that I really want other people to have this secret, just in case it helps you. So I call myself a recovering perfectionist, and that's why taking action has always been so impossibly difficult for me, because I'm always waiting around for something to be perfect, or the conditions to be perfect, or me to be perfect, or the thing I'm creating or making to be perfect before I'm ready to take the action, get it out in the world, or do the thing I'm supposed to do. I'm a massive planner, so I love to make a plan. And one of the reasons I love making plans so much is because it gives me something to hide behind. You know, I'm sat around like making my plan will be perfect. I'll take the action when my plan is perfect. And of course, my plan is never perfect, and I'm never perfect, and I'm never ready to take those big action steps towards my dreams and towards my goals. And so I'm a planner. I'm a perfectionist and a planner who loves to hide behind my plans to avoid taking any action. Because what happens when you take action? It leads to exposure and the possibility of failing. And there is nothing scarier than the possibility of failure. All people think of you, right? What does that mean that you've failed and now you are unworthy, or you are not enough, or all of those negative thoughts start coming in? So I just want to tell you a story about where I had this pivotal moment, this moment I can pinpoint it right back to, that started to shift something in my brain. So a couple of years ago, I was training to be a chakra dancing and mindful meditation therapist. I was on my retreat with my trainer, with the other participants. I'm immersed in all of this chakra dancing. I'm learning about the chakras and the endocrine system and how they help to keep you in balance and flow. And we did a lot of meditation, because it was also a creative mindful meditation diploma as well, because it was, you know, all related in this therapy, this healing modality of chakras and meditation. So I'm in a meditation, and during this meditation, we were being led on this journey to meet our very own spirit dragon. This is very exciting, because I'd met a lot of my spiritual entourage by this point. I have an angel, I have a raven, I have fairies, I have ancestors, I have all the peeps, but I had no dragon. And I was like, I want a dragon. This sounds really exciting. So bearing in mind I'm on a chakra certification program, right? So I'm immersed in all of the chakra energy, and I'm thinking about all my chakras and which ones are aligned, which ones are unbalanced, and all of that. And the one I was focusing on most was my solar plexus chakra, which is the yellow one. It's related to your stomach and your pancreas, and your it's the doing energy, it's the taking action energy, it's related to your willpower and your confidence. And so it was only natural that this is where my meditation led me. So in the meditation, I'm standing on the edge of this cliff, and this dragon starts flying towards me, and he's so big, right? He's so big and he's so bright. He's like this bright golden yellow color, so piercing that I was like almost blinded. I was like, whoa, dude. And he comes into view, and he lands on this cliff, and I'm like, whoa, dude, like seriously, can you like tone it down a bit, because I can barely see you. And so he shrinks from this huge, massive, piercing gold dragon to this tiny little gold dragon that's like this big. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Mulan, the Disney movie Mulan, but her little sidekick dragon, I think, is voiced by Eddie Murphy, one of my favorite Disney characters ever. And he's called Mushu, and he's this tiny little dragon. So when my dragon made himself really tiny at my request, I was like, you look like Mushu. And he was like, in a very stern voice, he was like, my name is Solaris. And I'm like, all right, Mushu. And I don't think he liked it very much. He's a very serious dragon. And I was like making fun of him, calling him Mushu. So we had this little funny skit back and forward, and he told me his name was Solaris. And later I looked that name up, and it means of the sun. So that makes perfect sense. He's this massive golden dragon. I'm focusing on my solar plexus chakra, all about taking action and the yellow color and the sunshine and those kind of vibes. So that was a really nice little thing to find out later on. And he had this message for me, and he stood there in his mini glory, and he was like, right, Bells, it's time to stop hiding, and it's time to start acting. And I was like, ooh, this is not the message I want to hear. I don't want to take action. So I told him that I was scared. I was scared of failing. I was scared of not being good enough. I was scared of making mistakes. And so he sang me this song, which is very funny, because so far in our communications, he'd been very serious. So he just sang me this song, and I'm going to sing it for you now. And the song is pretty funny. I'm going to sing it to you twice to let the message sink in. So like, if you really want to feel this message, close your eyes and listen to my words. Okay, so this is the song. You can do it. You can fail. Make mistakes and mess it up. Mess it up. Here we go again. You can do it. You can fail. Make mistakes and mess it up. Mess it up. And actually, I'm just going to let you into a little secret. That's the clean version. He didn't say mess it up. He said something else. But I'll let you use your imagination to fill in those blanks. So the words are: you can do it. You can fail. Make mistakes and mess it up. And if you didn't get the point, here it is. Mistakes are how we learn. We don't learn anything from getting it perfect. And we will never have a chance to make mistakes if we don't take any action. Mistakes are how we learn. We don't learn anything from getting it perfect, and we will never get a chance to make mistakes if we don't take action. Therefore, actions lead to mistakes, which lead to progress. So mistakes are actually the secret to scientific discoveries, right? Scientific discoveries only happened as a result of hundreds, if not thousands, of failures that led up to that pivotal moment, right? No scientist just like does an experiment and go, oh yeah, that was right. Cool. What's next? Oh yeah, that was right. Cool. What's next? Because you're then just predicting things you already know. Most scientific breakthroughs came from actually trying to figure out something else, and then suddenly this thing happened, and you're like, oh, okay, that's a thing, right? Okay, I guess I'm going this way then. And actually, it's only a failure if you don't get back up, right? It's only a failure if you don't get back up, if you don't learn from your experience and try again, or to discern that this whole thing wasn't for you in the first place, right? You don't necessarily always have to try again. You could try something, fail, and be like, you know what, I think that failed because my heart wasn't in it, because it wasn't aligned to me, and I was out of integrity, and that's the lesson. So you put that to one side and you go somewhere else. So it's only failure if you don't get back up, if you don't learn your lesson, and if you don't allow that to help you discern whether to try again or to let it go and move on. And recently I also did a video about talking about celebration and celebrating your progress versus your achievements and your goals. But also I really encourage people to celebrate the failures just as much as the wins, because every time you fail, you'd be like, oh, I failed. Oh, I made a mistake. This is an opportunity for me to learn something. What do I learn? Universe, what am I learning here? Celebrate the fact that you made a mistake, that you failed, and you go, ding, 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 I made a mistake. How can I grow from this? How can I progress through life with this mistake, this gift that I've given myself from making this mistake? The wins are often birthed through the mistakes and the failures, right? So you make a mistake, which leads to an awareness. This awareness of possibly what went wrong, possibly how you could change it. Maybe it was out of integrity. Maybe there's some improvements and the tweaks that need doing. So mistakes lead to awareness. The awareness then leads to the lessons. The lessons, what did you learn? The lesson leads to progress. The progress leads to results, and the results lead to growth. So the growth and the results only ever happened because you made the mistake in the first place. If you got everything perfect, you're like, okay, cool. What did I learn from getting everything perfect? I learned that worked, that worked, that worked, that worked. Okay, so how can I? There's no room for improvement. There's no room for progression. So if you don't make any mistakes, how do you really actually learn anything? And also, when I talk about taking action, right, there is massive action and there is little action, and then there is everything in between. But whatever we're talking about with action, it's just one step after the other, tiny little steps towards your goal. So if you haven't heard of this, I want to introduce you to something called the Law of Increments. Now, the Law of Increments is a universal law. It states that all energy moves in increments. And if enough increments are taken in the same direction towards one goal, one intention, then another universal law called the Law of Momentum kicks in. So Law of Increments states all energy moves in increments, keep going, and if enough increments are taken in the same direction, then the law of momentum kicks in. Boop, 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 and then we're on a roll. You know that phrase, on a roll? That's because someone has taken loads of steps in one direction and suddenly they're on a roll. They're on a roll, I'm doing it. I'm in this momentum now, let's keep going. So increments are each tiny little action step that you take towards your goal. And if no steps are ever taken, perfect, imperfect, failure, otherwise, if no steps are taken, then we will never reach a goal, right? Even if it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 5 steps forward, 8 steps back, 8 steps forward, 1 step back, whatever it is, we got to keep moving in that same direction. We got to keep taking those steps. Now my coach has given me one of the best analogies I've ever heard for understanding some phenomenon that we're not really aware of, and we don't really have a name for. But it's this thing that a lot of us have, where we're just waiting around for some kind of a miracle, right? A lot of people are just waiting around for a miracle, waiting around to win the lottery, waiting around for the love of their life to knock on the door, waiting around for someone to just call them out of the blue and be like, hey, I've got your dream job, like, do you want it? It's here waiting for you, and it's, you know, it's got loads of money and you don't have to really work that many hours. Like, loads of us are sitting around waiting for these quick fixes, these miracle cures, these magic wand solutions to all of our problems, when actually that's not really how life works, right? That does happen. I'm not saying that these things don't happen. People win the lottery all the time, but the chances are few and far between. And if you spend your life just sitting around waiting for these to happen, you're not taking the action steps that will actually get you that thing in the first place, right? So I could sit around waiting for £1 million all my life. Maybe it shows up, but it probably won't. But I could have spent that whole life taking my tiny little action steps towards making £1 million. And if I just carry on taking those action steps, carry on making mistakes, carry on learning, carry on growing, eventually I'm going to get there. Like, it's physics, right? It's science. Science says I'm going to get there. I'm here. My goal is here. Take a step, take a step, take a step, learn, 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 step back, learn, 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 step back, learn, learn, learn. So eventually I'm going to get there. Like, it's an inevitability. But if I'm just sat around waiting for a lottery ticket, I'm waiting for someone else to rescue me. I'm waiting for a miracle cure that may never happen. Whereas this is guaranteed, because I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to make it happen. So if no steps are taken, perfect, imperfect, or otherwise, then we will never reach our goal. So go out there with the intention of making mistakes. Go out there with the intention of making mistakes, not with the intention of being perfect. And this was the attitude that really shifted and changed it for me. So I went out there and I was like, right, okay, got a project I'm going to do. I've been trying to get some projects done for a couple of years now, and I create the project, but I never put the project out in the world because that's too scary. That's exposing, that's vulnerable, that means that people can judge it, and that might mean I failed because my project didn't go anywhere. Instead, I will never get to my project being a success if I've never launched it. If I've never launched my project, it can never be a failure or a success. So we're getting into what's the cat thing, the cat in the box? I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, Schrodinger's cat, that's it. We're getting into Schrodinger's cat territory, where if my project never gets out there in the world, it's both a failure and a success at the same time, and it's also neither a failure or a success. So only when my project comes out of the box and into the world can it be determined to be a failure or success. And even a failure is a success because we learn from it and we can improve and then get closer to the actual success. So when I my projects, I'm mostly talking about launching online courses, right? So I've created loads of courses, but it was only really the end of last year, beginning of this year, that I started putting those courses out there in the world and trying to get people on them. And you know what? I've never had a course with no one on it. So so in that respect, you could call it a success, because I've never had to cancel a course because there was no one on it. And even a couple of years ago when I tried to launch my first workshop, I didn't get enough people on the workshop to make it happen, but I got 2 coaching clients out of the advertising for that workshop. They called, I want to do the workshop. I'm like, I'm really sorry, you're too late, I've had to cancel it because there wasn't enough people to make it happen. But if you would like a one-to-one coaching package, then let's do that. And they were both like, yeah, great, sounds good. So even that wasn't a failure. It was a failure to make the workshop happen, but I got 2 one-to-one clients out of it and actually made way more money. So with my example about launching online courses, and this could be, you know, this project that we're talking about could be literally anything, any intention that you set your mind to. But for me, it was launching online courses. I'd create the courses, I'd create slideshows, beautiful PDFs, all the content, and then I would move on and make to the next project without even letting the world know that I'd made this course. So when I changed my attitude to like, okay, right, let's launch this course, I'll just do it however I want. Like, I'll just launch it. I'll just post some stuff, do some videos, send some emails, pick some dates, go ahead, do it. Whatever happens, happens, right? It's this que sera, sera energy. Whatever will be, will be. And if no one signs up for it and no one turns up, I can learn from that and go, okay, why did no one sign up? Did I send enough emails? Did I send too many emails? Did I post enough? Did I post too much? Did I post too long or too short? You know, I can look at all of those aspects and discern what it was that meant that no one turned up to my course. Maybe it was the time of day I was posting. Maybe I was just posting at times that no one was online. Whatever it was, if I had never have done the launches, I would have no data to analyze. You know, when you see like graphs with data on that statisticians or scientists or you know, mathematicians or whatever are looking at their graphs, they're looking at their graphs to discern hypotheses, to discern conclusions, to get answers and to understand something. If there is no data, there is no graph. Your graph is empty, so you cannot make any conclusions without any data. You cannot get any data without taking any action. So we need to take the action to make mistakes. And if we go out there with the intention of making mistakes instead of the intention of being perfect, when I went with the intention of being perfect, I'm like, okay, I've got to be perfect. I've got to be perfect. This PDF isn't perfect, so I can't do it until this PDF is perfect. These slides are not perfect, so I can't do it until these slides are perfect. I haven't finished all my emails perfectly and all my posts perfectly, and my graphics aren't perfect, and I don't have the perfect images. So I'm going to carry on searching for the perfect images, and I'm going to carry on searching for the perfect quotes, and I'm going to carry on searching for the perfect fonts and the perfect colors, and then I'm going to make me perfect because I've got to be perfect because I'm not quite good enough yet to teach this course. I've got to make myself perfect. Where's the action? Where's the action? Where's the risk? There is no risk. But when I'm like, oh, how can I make mistakes? How can I do this? Like, let's do this. Oh, it's PDF. Yeah, it's good enough. Like, I'll learn from it how it wasn't good enough next time, and maybe I can even use that as a template for next time. Great. Then I just went out there and I started getting on with it. The amount of time I've wasted waiting around for me or something to be perfect, when in reality, I will never think it's perfect. And most people won't even notice half of the things that I was obsessing over in the first place. And so often, no one gives a shit anyway. So I was speaking to a client recently, and they were talking about delaying a launch in their business because they were doing up their logo and they wanted their logo to be perfect. Of course, we all want our logo to be perfect. I want my logo to be perfect. I've redesigned my logo several times, and I've had other people redesign my logos too. But redesigning this logo for this client was stopping them from launching. And I said to them, I was like, do you know what? It's a truth bomb for you. No one gives a shit about your logo. And they both started laughing. They were like, oh my God, you're so right. And I was like, I know. Do you care about anyone's logo? Not really. Do you even notice anyone's logo? Do you notice the fonts people use? Do you notice the colors they use? Do you notice if they used red in their logo last time and now they're using blue? No, probably not. And even if you did notice, do you care? No, probably not. So all of these tiny little things that we're obsessing over, no one else notices or cares except us. So we're just affecting ourselves, right? We're not perfecting these things for our clients or for the world. We're perfecting these things because we don't feel good enough we don't feel good enough, and we need to feel good enough to put things out in the world, otherwise we're an imposter. So perfection is the enemy of getting shit done. You have the right to make mistakes. We're human beings, right? We're souls living a human experience, and you have the right to make a mistake. And you don't create your best life, don't create your perfect life and then start living it. You create your perfect life through the process of living it, through the process of living and going, this is working, this is not working, I'll keep this, I'll leave this, eliminate that, give me more of that. So go on, you can do it. You can make mistakes and mess it up. I promise you it will be the best decision you ever made, to start with the attitude of, how can I make mistakes and mess this stuff up? Because that's where the risk is. That's where miracles don't happen inside the comfort zone, right? Miracles only happen outside of the comfort zone, and mistakes happen outside of the comfort zone because we don't really know what we're doing, because it's unfamiliar territory. So I hope that my crazy ramblings about failure and making mistakes has shifted something inside any of you perfectionists out there. Feel your pain as a recovering perfectionist myself. It is a crippling, debilitating and freezing place to be in. And by freezing, I don't mean cold. I mean that you're literally frozen and you cannot do anything because you're waiting to be perfect, you're waiting to be enough. But I tell you, you're more than enough already. You are more than enough right now, and you will be even more than enough when you start making mistakes and owning them and being like, I don't care, I made some mistakes. I learned some stuff, I grow, I move on, I progress, I get the momentum going in my life, and then suddenly I'm rolling towards my best life ever. And then you won't even realize that it's happening, because you've just been taking those little steps, those increments towards your goal. So I hope this message has landed, and much love and infinite blessings from me. And